Hello, my name is John, and welcome to the Through the Eyes of George YouTube channel. Today, what we're going to talk about is family and what that meant to George Washington and what that means for us today. Now, George Washington had a rather large family, depending on how you look at it. He had a lot of brothers and sisters. He had stepbrothers and stepsisters. And also, his father, Augustus, passed away when George was very young. And George had to be, I guess what you could say, the man of the house, or help his mother, Mary Ball, run things. His half-brother, Lawerence, who was older than George, was around, but Lawerence also sadly passed away when George was a young man. And because of that, George had to take on a lot of responsibility, and George Washington looked up to, naturally, to his older brother Lawerence. He actually went on a trip with Lawerence to Barbados. That was actually the only time that George was ever out of the country. Unlike today, where a president can travel anywhere he wants because of planes or because of boats. But anyway, about family. George kept in close contact with his relatives through letters, or they would get together and have dinner or just hang out and all of that. And just catch up or talk about the business of the family or the business of the infancy of the country. George kept in contact with his mother. Like I said, Augustus passed away when George was a young man, and throughout the years, George always kept in contact with his mother or his parents that were alive. And sadly, today, some people don't keep in contact with their parents as much as they could, and that's for their decision. But I think, in my personal opinion, I know this channel says that we're only going to talk about George Washington's opinion and George Washington's ideals. But from George Washington's viewpoint, and with what I think about parents and family, is you should keep in regular contact with your family. Whether that's every couple months, every couple weeks, a couple times a year, something like that. George did that, and that's my opinion too. Because your family is your family. It's your blood, as people say. Because you only get one family. But anyway, so in terms of what George thought about family, he loved his family. He would do anything for them. And when George Washington married Martha Custis, they never had children of their own in the 40 years that they were married. Partly and most likely due to the fact that George had a lot of, how could you say, health ailments and diseases throughout his life, which most likely led to the fact that he was sterile. But George Washington adopted Martha Washington, or Martha Custis's side of the family, like the nieces and nephews, most notably Nellie and Washi. So there are a lot of things today that weren't around during George Washington's time in terms of taking care of children, and which is great. And it could be better. A lot of things could be better. Anything could be better from different perspectives. And what can we do today? What would George Washington think about families and taking care of children? Because George Washington, like I said, loved his family and loved the children that he took care of. And what I would say of what George Washington would do is you got to look at his character, of what he's known by, and the rules of civility and decent behavior that he lived, and what the definition of a family is. The definition of a family is a group of people living together, headed by or ran by parents, with children. That's a family. According to, if you type in Google, definition of a family. But today, a definition of a family has changed. And like I have in other videos talked about, whether it's two males living together, two females, and they adopt children, because it's impossible for a male and a male to come together and to have their sperm make a child. That's not how, procreation, or that's not how conception, that's what I'm looking for. That's not how conception works. It's a sperm and an egg. Or for two ladies to get together and have their eggs come together. That's not how conception works, so they have to adopt. Now, what I have to say, of what George Washington would say, is, okay, so we have the definition of family. We have what George Washington's family, a brief conception of what George Washington's family lineage was like and what he thought of his family. Where's the boundary? Where's the boundary in what a family is? Where's the boundary in telling people no in what is not a family? Because if in today's society, if we do not have a boundary in what a family is and how to take care of children, it will completely unravel in the societal norms of what a family is throughout all of time. Whether people want to talk about tradition or not tradition, you have to have boundaries, because once we're gone, who's going to remember us? It's going to be our children, right? What do we teach our children, and how to take care of families? Where do people learn from? When George Washington was young, he learned a lot about life, math, how to talk to people, all kinds of things. A spiritual side of life, or God, however you viewing this video want to talk about those spiritual things. He learned all of those things from his family. First, his community, and all of that. So, how are we going to raise up our children? Do we want to raise our children up to be, good, upstanding citizens, or to be mediocre and just to kind of piddle by? It's up to you to decide in society. That is a 21st century question, not a question for George Washington's time. So thank you for watching this video. I hope you liked it. I will put all the links in the description below. Click the notification bell if you liked it. Click the subscribe button. And thanks for watching the video. Bye.